7 to 9. Come keep. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the check and shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back the time method to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the check and shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back the time method to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the check and shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go
All
live.
right.
Hit this
Good
track
morning
and
and
do your
welcome
dance
in
like you
here
Karen
on
Lacey.
this
Run it back the
Tuesday.
time method to the house, baby.
Let's get it, let's go.
It's Tingle and Co.
Tingle and Co. Welcome in. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning on this Tuesday. Sometimes I wish the intro camera started on Lloyd so y'all could see what I'm having to deal with to know when to speak or not to speak, because it's a lot of,
I'm waiting for the beat to drop.
It's never consistent.
but sometimes you like to throw different things at me.
I do.
Yeah, today it was just 3
He's
points
holding you at gunpoint.
up in the air. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm taking this plane to Lebanon. I meant to tell you guys before we started. We will not be landing in Baton Rouge,
We're reaching out to you to 35,000 feet.
and you're all mine now. Let's go.
And the buckle.
Your exit's on your left. You will get to know very shortly.
And the cabin is warm, so if everyone could please
He's
open
got-
their air vents.
Cabin fever.
But we appreciate you guys getting here this morning. Glimmer, Slat, Sabrion, Kenny, Tom, all in here, our early risers. Thank you for joining us here on Tuesday as we will get rolling through the headlines. First off, before we get to that, Lloyd, great job waking up or being awake and getting to mic'd up on time.
Oh, thank you. That was it was a fucking miserable experience, to
It's
be
supposed
honest.
to be the other way around, where you have trouble getting to the 7 a.m. show, not consistent trouble getting to the 6 p.m.
No,
show.
you know, the sleep schedule is what it is.
I'm fine with you having trouble with the 6 p.m. show.
Trying to get this off the ground, boys.
Let's keep 7 a.m.
But then now it's Jay on Monday, so I'm like, I do actually have to be there.
Right.
I can't disappoint my father.
Of course.
Which he already knows about, but he also congratulated me too.
He
which
knows
is
you
nice.
call him your dad?
I have to email him.
How's your dad feel about that?
Oh, he knows I've got a baseball dad and a dad.
Biological dad.
And a
It's
biological
it's
dad.
a modern family construct.
Yeah. But I had to put my phone on loud all day because I don't know what my alarm situation is. Like, I don't know if it goes off or not. So I was like, I'll just keep it on loud. And you get a lot more done when that phone makes noise the entire time. It was
Right.
miserable, but that's how we got. Also,
Well, it only took you 32 years to get there?
yeah, but I
Loud
like it
phone-
on
loud phone
vibrate,
alarm
and
good?
then the the
Quiet
alarm
phone
still goes
alarm
off on
bad?
loud because we're in a litany of group text, and we joined another
Yes.
one yesterday.
We did.
Shout out to Tom Granning. Shout out to the Omaha boys. Shout out to the Party Box. And so that's actually how that happened because my phone would not stop vibrating.
There you
and
go.
then actually going ting,
Let that phone pop
Ting.
up. Yeah, it is annoying.
ting.
See, I sleep with my ringer on,
Me too.
with my phone off of vibrate.
But I never know when I'm going to fall asleep.
Right. And so I usually know when I'm going to fall asleep. I'm usually pretty aware. I'm not just falling asleep randomly.
What's that disease?
Narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy?
Have you seen the narcoleptic dog?
I have not. Have you seen? There's a disease or a condition. I don't think it's a disease. I think it's a condition where like you fall asleep from like experiencing emotions too strongly.
Yes.
So like if
Yeah.
you laugh really, anytime you laugh really hard, you fall asleep.
That-
Yeah, I
like a
don't know
goat?
So
what
it was
that's
like this
called.
girl that would be like, literally just fall straight out.
Like-
the second they
It's
would
like those
start
baby
laughing.
goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever they get scared, they just go. "Brr."
Yep. Straight to sleep.
Yep.
Those are great.
But good morning.
Good morning.
As the Tigers are still headed to Omaha, that has not changed.
What if it
in the
changed?
last 24 hours? That
That'd
would
be-
suck
that'd
if
be a
it
dark
changed,
morning.
but it has not changed.
Those
Still
aren't the rules.
good vibes as LSU is headed to Omaha this weekend, and the game time has been announced. LSU will play Arkansas at 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Is that 6 p.m. Central?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And when you look through the entire bracket, you've got Coastal Carolina versus Arizona to start it off on Friday, followed by Oregon State and Louisville. And then rolling over into Saturday, you've got UCLA and the newest addition to Omaha as, how about Murray State, huh?
I watched it last night.
It was electric.
Electric game, and to have the dual. You got two celebrations. They had the runner's interference on the last out where they tried to
Right.
turn a double play, gets called for runner's interference. They celebrate. They review it, not runner's interference. They have to go back out and pretend like it just didn't happen, and then immediately the next pitch.
Right.
And right back into it. That game was electric.
It was a
Like,
great
How big was that ballpark? Everybody was sitting over the fence.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Into the trees. It's like it's 300 feet.
Yeah, I mean, the trees are right there,
Yeah.
Bob. They're not very far. But shout out to Murray State. And like we said, that's one of those teams where it's like they're not going to be too recognizable of a name on your ticket or on your scorecard. But you don't want to run into a team that's hot like that. And then, of course, LSU versus Arkansas will be the nightcap on Saturday, as those are the two highest ranked teams still in the field. Lloyd, I saw you sent me a picture of on Twitter of like the seeding, and you've got the 3 and 6 seed facing off, a 15 seed against a non-national seed, the 8 seed against a non-national seed, and a 13 seed against a non-national seed. Do you believe that there should be some sort of reseeding when you get to this standpoint? Like, now that it's College World Series time, that like LSU and Arkansas shouldn't be playing each other round one as they're the two highest seeds, and it should be separated. They should be reseeded moving into the College World Series.
I feel like it would be, to say it now would be sour grapes because I've never even actually thought about it. But
Me neither.
The more that you kind of look into it, and I guess if you're I don't think you should, but I guess there's better matchups that if you are, like, when do you stop getting rewarded for being a 1 seed, or when do you get rewarded for being a 1 seed
Right.
or a national seed? Feels like you host a regional, super regional, and they're like, that's enough. And whoever comes out the bracket comes out the bracket because
Yeah.
they don't reseed anything else, do they? Like, March Madness doesn't get reseeded.
no.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, because if you're looking at, I'm gonna look at this from Arkansas's perspective, not even LSU's. Like, think about Arkansas. You're the number 3 overall seed. There are 1, 2, 3 teams in the field that weren't national seeds, and then the ones that were, 2 of those 3 are not top 8 seeds. And UCLA being 15, Coastal Carolina 13, and you're getting faced off with the 6 seed. You know, like it's like, well, but my mindset, because my grandfather actually called me yesterday and was asking about this. he was like, it's kind of unbelievable that LSU's got to play the other best team in the game. Well, I was like, well, this is my thought process, Paul. You're going to have to go through them at some point.
Yep.
Might as well get it out of the way early. And so that's kind of – I don't think that reseeding is really anything that should be – it's an interesting thought to have, obviously, when you look at it from this standpoint. But, like, really, like, it's never something that's really crossed my mind prior. But when you look at the bracket and you only have 4 national seeds and 2 of them are facing off, like, the thought would be, okay, well, there's 4 national seeds in it, right? What, 1, 2, or 5. Let the high ones go against the guys that are under. Like, there's a way to reseed it, but I don't think you particularly need to. I think the process is fine.
The initial seeding of the 64, and then it shakes out like it shakes out. You know, if we were playing anyone else,
Well, I think that's why the conversation is happening. I don't think it's necessarily like LSU fans like, oh, we have to play Arkansas.
No.
I think it's the way that this tournament shook out in particular, where there's not as many national seeds or teams that hosted their super that got through. So now it's like, wait, hold on, should we reevaluate how we do this thing? So you don't have LSU play Arkansas from a Omaha perspective. They don't want LSU to lose the first game.
Yeah, they don't want Arkansas to lose the first.
No,
what they would love is for LSU and Arkansas to be
on the other side of the
championship series.
Right. And so if you reseeded, I guess LSU would play Murray State. Like if you really had to go through and reseed it, and Arkansas would play UCLA or the Chanticleers.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean in C-Dub, I agree. Like if you don't reseed, then you end up having a de facto national championship game in the semis. And I get that. But the same could have been said in 2023 when you had LSU versus Wake Forest. It just ended up happening that Florida was on the other side.
Right.
It's just that it shook out this year that that's not the case. And so now, and from my perspective, it feels like it's kind of a year-by-year thing where, like, if Auburn gets through on the other side or Florida State gets through on the other side – or North Carolina gets through on the other side, this conversation isn't even happening.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, LSU versus UNC would be a great. Arkansas versus Auburn would be a good series. Go down the line.
But they couldn't get the job done.
But those things didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a year-by-year thing where, like, in 2023, if Florida doesn't make it out of their super and, a non-national seed is on that end, you would have looked at it and said, well, then why does LSU have to play Tennessee and Wake Forest when on the other side of the bracket there's not a whoever?
But it's like in the NCAA tournament, sometimes the 15 seed wins 2 games, then all of a sudden one's got them, and then you're on the other side, and it's 1-on-2, and you're like, well, let's reshake things out because we were the number 1 overall seed or whatever. It's just it's how it goes.
Yeah, and
it's just the
in my opinion,
we're up to the challenge.
If you're LSU, what you've got is a team that you've already beat. You've got a report on, a scout on. You know them. Now, the same thing goes for them. They know you. But like I said, you were going to have to beat Arkansas at some point. Likely, because if you're LSU and you're looking at the field, you're saying, okay, who's the other best team? It's Arkansas. Like Coastal Carolina, there's a conversation. They're 53-11, and they're about as hot as you can get. I would say a lot of people would look at the field if they're from looking at it through an LSU lens and say Arkansas is likely the toughest opponent for the Tigers. So you were going to have to beat them at some point, whether it was in the other side of the bracket and you play them in the championship game or you play them now. You're going to have to do it. So Kimberly asks, remind me of how it works, guys. We win game 1, face winner of game 2. So the way it would work in the bracket is if you win game 1, LSU would face the winner of UCLA and Murray State. If you win that, it's essentially a regional and a super regional again.
Combined.
Omaha is. So you're playing a regional right now with the 4 teams being LSU, Arkansas, Murray State, UCLA. And so if you win, you play the winner of the other side. If you win that one, you wait in the 2-0 game, and you play the winner of everyone else. Whoever comes out of that has to beat you twice. You beat them once, like LSU did with Little Rock. And if they can ultimately go to an extra game, kind of like when you look back to 2023, LSU beat Tennessee, lost to Wake Forest, beat Tennessee again, and then had to beat Wake Forest twice coming out of the losers bracket.
This is the 2023.
Right.
So on the outsides is your super regionals, and then the inside, the white portion, is what happens in Omaha. So it's LSU against Tennessee, Oral Roberts against Virginia, right? And they square off first.
Yeah. Oh, what could have happened is and so what I'm trying to say, okay, look at this and say, imagine was that Indiana State down at the bottom next to TCU. Imagine Indiana State gets in over TCU, and you have Florida loses in theirs to UConn, and UConn goes on a run and gets in. You would look at this and say, why does LSU have Wake Forest and Tennessee on their side with no big name teams on the other end? That to me, the reseeding conversation is a year by year, kind of season by season discussion. Because right now, you would look at this and you would say this doesn't need reseeding. I would assume because you have viable opponents on both ends. TCU is a pretty good baseball program. Don't ever compare them to LSU again, please. Florida, obviously a very good baseball program. Virginia is a blue blood. And then you've got LSU, Tennessee, and Wake Forest on the other side. And Stanford as well. I think it's just kind of the way it's cracked out this year has made it different. But in my opinion, if you look at it from a scheduling your arms standpoint, pitching standpoint, go back to 2023. Did Paul Skeens pitch against Florida?
No.
Never. And so, if you're LSU, you don't know what could happen, and you could very well have to go in to, say it was reseeded and you face Arkansas in the national championship game.
That's how it shook out last year.
Yeah. In 2023?
Mm-hmm. Oh, 2023, excuse me, yes.
Yeah, so that's the bracket. And so my point was, if you're LSU, right now you're facing Arkansas with all your options available. You get to throw whichever ace you want to throw in game one, you get to throw them against Arkansas. If you face them in the national championship, that's not guaranteed.
Right.
LSU starters in the national championship series in 2023, I believe, were Ty Floyd. Obviously, Thatcher Hurd started the championship game. And then in between game two, was it Samuel Dutton? It was Dutton and Coleman that started
Javen
it.
Coleman started.
Javen Coleman started. So, you want to face the toughest opponent with everybody you've got available. So, we'll see how it shakes out. But LSU obviously will face Arkansas at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And if you we should put a poll up in the chat, Lloyd, if we can do so. Ask the chat about reseeding. Y'all's thoughts. If once the College World Series field is set, it should be reseeded or not. Obviously, other things in the headlines. Jordan Arsamal gets a new job. He was obviously LSU's he was the director of player development in the past. He had just gotten a new title as the director of recruiting, communications, and external relations. And if you were to just look at that title itself, recruiting, communications, and external relations, what that would say is he probably deals with NIL quite a bit, which is exactly kind of what his lifeblood, I would assume, of his job kind of entailed around, was communications, relationships with people and players, and he dealt with NIL a lot. Even before he got to LSU, he was kind of in the realm of understanding the NIL landscape and relationship building. And his new job is with Athletes First, which if you go to their website, athletesfirst.net, it is engineered to the exact specifications of championship athletes. It is a premier NFL agency. My assumption would be now with revenue sharing, because when Pete Nakos put out the report on Twitter or on 3 that Jordan Arsamal was taking this new gig, it says LSU personnel staffer Jordan Arsamal has been hired by Athletes First to assist in adapting to the revenue sharing era of college football. So what I would assume is this NFL agency is going to step into and maybe they're already dealing with college sports, but this is my first introduction to Athletes First. But with this new revenue sharing world, it's going to be contracts for players. And with that, you want agents, you want people that understand the realm, and that's where Jordan Arsenal will fit in that. And I would say, from the athlete's first standpoint, great hire by them, because Jordan Arsenal is somebody that understands the landscape, has obviously done a great job, has been a huge piece of LSU's team. He was brought in by J.R. Belton when Brian Kelly first got to LSU to assist in this new realm, this new era of sports, because it's kind of lined up as soon as BK got here to LSU, the new landscape had opened up with the transfer portal, NIL, and now the second layer, the second domino has kind of arrived with revenue sharing. So he will step into a role for Athletes First in that realm. So obviously, congratulations to Jordan Arsenal for getting that new job. We will kind of discuss that later on. And we'll ask John Eads, who was joining us at 8 a.m. Obviously, we'll talk LSU baseball with him a good bit as LSU beat West Virginia this past weekend. But we will discuss Jordan Arsenal's new gig and what that means for LSU, because Eads, I believe, just did an interview, a sit-down with Arsenal about 3 or so weeks ago. So he'll have a pretty good understanding. Next headlines, obviously, if you missed it last night, Murray State takes down Duke and have punched their ticket to Omaha. The Racers are the final team, and the field is set like we discussed. And one thing we didn't talk about yesterday that came out over the weekend, and we just kind of discussed talking Jordan Arsenal, is the settlement with the NCAA. Revenue sharing is officially a thing. Teams are going to get a certain amount of money, a salary cap to spend on players. I think LSU, they're in the $20 million bracket. They'll get 20.5. I think football gets 13 of that 20, or something around that. The NCAA will also pay nearly $2.8 billion in back damages over the next 10 years to athletes who competed in college at any time from 2016 through present day. And moving forward, each school can pay its athletes up to a certain limit. The annual cap is expected to start at roughly $20.5 million per school, and increase every year during the decade-long deal.
So is the revenue sharing just – there's this number, right, that is your flat number. You get this at this level. The fundraising and stuff that typically has also been NIL money coming up to this point, is that stuff that you're allowed to spend on top of this? Is this like a set number that everybody gets, and then – so this
the goal is to get rid of, I believe, from my understanding, is this goal of revenue sharing is to get rid of the collectives.
Yeah.
Is
okay.
to
That's
set
right.
some sort of cap and standard of you get this much money to spend because your school is bringing in this much revenue, so you're getting $20 million of the however much revenue your school brings in,
right,
to spend on your athletes, to get away from the crowdfunding type of, let's see if we can get a booster to come in, give our collective $12 million to pay for a high school quarterback.
Right. Okay. So I didn't know if it was like that or like the European soccer model, where if you perform this well in your domestic league or European competition, you get extra revenue coming in, and then you can spend whatever you want on transfers and buying players, just depending on like the discrepancy of the club.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's still very well a road that is being paved.
Yeah.
Or I think the way we first analyzed it when we were talking about it was it is a airplane being built while it's in the air.
Yeah.
I think it is still very much that.
Yeah.
Like, as much as this is taking a step forward to say no more collectives, no more getting a donor or a booster to come in, give you a lump sum of cash for one player.
Or
I don't know if they're you really can't stop that. Like, that was happening before NIL anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
People
it's
were paying
the
for their
Oregon.
players.
Oregon's the team that comes to mind with this, right?
Right,
Where you have
it's a blank check.
the blank check from Phil Knight to do whatever it takes. I mean, they can
Right.
still throw that money towards facilities and all that different stuff, but if it hampers them from being able to throw, like a non-disclosed amount after this, I think this is,
I think it's good.
This is
I
a
think
good
this
middle
was
ground.
the goal for NIL from its conception, was stop making money off of players, allow them to make the money themselves.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason, and by the way I've always described it was like, there's no reason if me as the host of Tingle & Co. I got a brand deal with Nike, they can pay me however much money, and it's fine while I'm a college student. But whoever, name a player off the Garrett Nussmeier before NIL, just because he's on the football team, can't get the same brand deal.
Yeah.
If he hosts a podcast or has a social media account or
Because
whatever.
he's a
Because
quote-unquote
he's an
amateur.
athlete. Right. Like that. I always thought that was the main goal, and I think it was. And on top of that, sharing the revenue is a piece of that.
Yeah.
It just turned into crowdfund, pay for play, and of course it did.
Right, and then you have things like Texas Tech and these schools that are
Right,
saying, fuck
Texas
it, we're
A&M,
or
like
Sacramento State trying to buy their way
Yes.
into huge conferences.
Yes.
So if this is the case, and like you said, I think we're all still very much figuring this out
Definitely.
as it happens, but this seems like a step in the right direction to me because they should be getting paid. They should be allowed to get whatever private money they want from endorsements, stuff like that. But
It's a sort of cap.
yeah,
It gets away from the crowdfunding collective type deals.
it's also going to save me a ton of money because
Yes.
I'm putting up 1.5
Easy.
mil just every year since this has started. It's getting out of control. I don't even know where it's going anymore.
Yeah,
I think
don't.
I paid for a swimmer. I don't know if we swim. So I
we
think
had-
I'm getting scammed. I
Quidditch
don't know.
team looks
So
great this year.
Yeah. Lacrosse, I think we're going to be great at, is what I've been
Rowing
told.
crew.
Well, you better hope because
I bought
they're
your
telling
team.
you because
I
you've been
don't
paying.
know. Apparently, I bought a big boy. I don't, but
But that's like actually like some people are actually having that conversation.
I know, I know,
God.
I know.
I
Like,
guess I was just
what have I
pissing my
done?
money away. I don't know, but this doesn't mean that they're going to stop either.
well, no,
Like-
and it doesn't stop you from having your car dealership
Right, exactly.
throw a brand, and
And what-
then
what
that's
the-
an undisclosed amount. But
And that's why they created a new arm of this, the College Sports Commission, which is a part of this deal that they'll be going through a quote-unquote clearinghouse. If it's a deal that's worth X amount of money, they have to go to like arbitration, go look at it and see if it's actually you're paying for what you're actually getting. And so you can't just do blank check. Well, actually, he's doing an NIL deal with me. It's like,
Right.
What is he doing?
what I'm excited about is to see, because this has always been the beauty of college sports, in my opinion, the sneaky ways
Yeah, exactly.
that the thirstiest fucking programs get around this, because they will find ways to do it.
Yes.
And I'm real excited to see what they come up with. Because, people don't want to say it out loud, but slime is one of the most fun things about college sports in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It really is. You want your SMUs to get caught. You want to find out later that, you bought a guy, I don't know, a racehorse, whatever it is. And
the McDonald's bags full
Right.
It's got a Big Mac and it's got $5,000 in it.
I mean, that's the thing that people love to complain about the
course.
most until this happened. Like, Will Wade was public enemy number one. It's like, he's paying for those players. Like, yeah.
Yep, now it's
Catch
legal.
him.
Of course I am.
Stop him.
It's exciting. I'm just excited to see the
And-
evolution.
Yeah, no, we will be covering it here at Tingle & Co. We'll be witnessing the future as it's happening.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, let's bring on that shady shit. Let's go.
The last thing in the headlines, Lloyd, if you can pull up the tweet that I had attached to it. This got a good giggle out of me yesterday when I was just scrolling through the Twitter sphere, the X application on my own. I came across this tweet and I was like, I got to put this in document because we need to look at this. I want all 100 plus of you that are watching this to look at this when it comes up on the screen because it's unbelievable. The amount of cope that Tennessee is having, and this is nothing against the writer for Rivals, but this to me screams coping as Tennessee obviously lost in the Supers and is not headed to Omaha. This tweet was put out, and on top of that, they're using the wrong LSU logo, which blows my mind. How do you not know how to use the LSU baseball logo when you're talking about LSU baseball?
Oh, God.
They
Or
do it
even
on-
just a
they-
different logo
they
in
do it
general,
on purpose.
of course. But this was the tweet put out, in my opinion, just absolutely showing cope because I didn't make it as far as I wanted. Tennessee was talking as if they were the best team in the country. They are not headed to Omaha, so they decided, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's compare ourselves to the other past champions who didn't make it very far either. Obviously, Mississippi State and Ole Miss missed out on the tournament completely. LSU lost in the regional last year to North Carolina. Tennessee, in their season as reigning national champions, ended. Let's also bring up the fact that Tennessee ended their season with an abysmal run, and then made the tournament, won their. They were regional hosts because they won a couple of games in the SEC tournament, made it to a super, but didn't make it to Omaha. Cope a little bit harder.
This is
Volunteers.
almost like if you get dumped by your girlfriend And then you look at 3 other people who got dumped by their girlfriends, and you're like, my girlfriend left me at least
Yes.
for the best guy.
We got all the way to the altar.
As opposed to
and
the,
then she decided to call it
And then
quits.
the guy
At
she
least
left
we made
before,
it that far.
Yeah.
is a
Losers.
millionaire and went to an Ivy
You only
League.
got to first base.
These guys are managing, whatever. So I got,
I mean, just cope a little bit harder.
Yeah,
please.
still a virgin.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can't say
Didn't
still
make
hit.
no ball, buddy.
Yeah, didn't still hit. I copped feel. You didn't even get close.
And speaking of Omaha, that'll get on to the 2 clap segments, as this is the 20th trip to Omaha by the standard of college baseball, which is LSU. It's not Tennessee. It's not Blue Blood North Carolina. It's not TCU, which was the most unbelievable thread on Twitter. I didn't even touch it. I hadn't even talked about it because I couldn't believe that it was actually a thing happening on social media. LSU is the standard of college baseball. And they are headed on their 20th trip to Omaha, which started in 1986. So from 1986 to 2000 and what year is it? 25?
The year of our
So what's
Lord.
that? Almost
so.
It's 39 years. In the 39-year span, you've made 20 trips to Omaha if you're LSU.
That's real nice.
Which I believe that would be 20 trips to Omaha, 19 not trips to Omaha. Mm-hmm. So you've gone to
50-50
Omaha.
shot.
Yeah, I mean that's.
And, dude, I can understand the sentiment a little bit of, like, it's hard to get there.
Yes.
Like, that's an accomplishment in itself. We talked about it last night when we were talking to Jay and obviously Mikey and Jared. They're like, let's just take a second, right? You saw how Jay reacted whenever they had the super regional, like, celebration. You're on to Omaha, and he takes a beat, and he kind of, like, looks around, and he's like, exhaled for a second, because this is a part of whenever you, in the offseason, you start making your list of goals. It's host a regional, host a super regional, go to Omaha, and then it's win the College World Series. This is absolutely, like, that's why this list, like, I get it. You accomplished a lot of what you set out to do.
Right.
But you still have that one thing left, but to be able to go to Omaha is a massive goal. So I see why TCU considers themselves like, hey, we do this a lot.
Right.
But there's one more stipulation to this trip.
Yeah, but you ain't got no rings.
You ain't got no rings.
Like, same with North Carolina. They cannot be a blue blood. Like, as good as they are, and they are a program that has been good throughout the years, they don't have any rings. You cannot be a blue blood without championships. And so, respect to the North Carolina baseball program. They have been good for a period of time, which I think a lot of people associate with being a blue blood. It's just that you are one of the programs that has been good for a long period of time.
You're always there at the end. You're either hosting a regional or super regional. You look up, you're like, oh, that's one of those teams that can win it.
But you got to have.
But you
one
can't
of these,
call
man.
yourself blue blood.
You got to have one of these.
And
It's like all those classic Big East basketball programs,
Right.
They're like, we're blue blood teams, blah, blah, blah. But you never.
Right. When
You
you look
didn't
at the
win.
blue
You
bloods
went
of
to the tournament
basketball,
time. Yeah,
Duke, championships. Kansas, championships. Kentucky, championships.
North Carolina.
Villanova is a new blood, championships. North Carolina, championships. UConn,
Kansas.
championship. Like, those are the new bloods, but, like, still. UCLA, championships. Football, Alabama's a blue blood, championships. But go down the whatever.
Like, well, if you want to do, like, the college basketball, like, Arkansas can't call themselves a blue blood, or neither
No.
can Alabama. Like, you're good consistently,
Right.
but you haven't won a national championship in
No.
basketball, and so you're not a part of, like, that old guard. Like, I guess if you have to, like, reseed the blue bloods, like, USC you can throw out for college baseball. Like, I know they have the most national champions, like, most national championships of any team.
Right.
But I wouldn't consider them a blue blood anymore. Like, you do have to make room for, like, when I go.
There are new bloods.
Right.
There's blue bloods and there's new bloods. Like in basketball, UConn isn't somebody that was overly good for all these years.
No.
They've won a whole lot of national
all
championships in
since
the
the
last 15 years.
Yeah,
you
all
know?
since the mid-'90s.
And so, like,
But like
There
if
are-
you're
there
St.
is that.
John's, you're not a blue blood.
No.
You have like a great tradition of basketball.
right. But you don't have all these championships
ain't
that you're
won
rolling out and showing off. So 2 claps for LSU on their 20th trip to Omaha, the standard of college baseball. Ready. Next up, Lloyd, and if you can open up this video, I want to give 2 claps to the student section because this was awesome. We played the song, obviously, during the watch party, little country roads, little John Denver, to close out the watch party as LSU sent West Virginia home. And I didn't realize how contentious it had gotten in the box between some West Virginia and some LSU. There was a lot of high emotions, obviously. It's the Super Regionals. It's in a competitive sport and game. And everybody wants to win. And they're obviously, Mikey told a story yesterday about how contentious it got. I got stories from some friends and some family that were there that it got contentious on their, their sections as well, between some Mountaineer fans and Tiger fans. But the student section kept it classy and closed it out with a song.
That could be Christian.
I mean, that is awesome.
As cool as that is,
Uh-huh.
why in God's green fuck do you need the lyrics printed out for country? It's like the easiest song. Everybody knows that. Like, oh no, we got to print out a piece of paper for this one. Like, you can guess the words if you hear it once.
Right. It's
And they all, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll get prepared. But there's this guy, look at this guy's reading it off the sheet.
I didn't even notice.
Look, he doesn't know the words.
It's like
Like, you don't need that.
you got the hymn. You got the hymnal in your
The
in your
drunkest mega church I've ever seen.
Drunk on power.
hands. But it was as much as they should not need the lyrics, which is hilarious. I didn't even notice that part. Shout out to the student section because that was beautiful. A beautiful rendition of John Denver's classic, and the moment made it even better. So 2 claps. Ready. Next video is Bear Jones deserves 2 claps. We have talked a lot about the character of this baseball program, this baseball team, the roster, and the reason they're at where they are. And this is why we've always said they didn't deserve to lose in the regional. They deserve to be in Omaha because they are a high-character group of guys on this baseball team. And I like when these things get recorded and put out there just to show the character of these young men because college athletes are under a lot of scrutiny. But it's nice to see when they are getting applauded, and I want to make sure we applaud them as well. So here's Bear Jones, which is deserving of 2 claps. As after the game, you just punch your ticket to Omaha, and he celebrated with his team, had a good time, and said, you know what, I'm going to spend some extra time post game and sign some stuff for some fans, some balls, some bats, and make sure everybody gets their fair share. So shout out to Bear Jones. As he's making some young fans' days, nights, years, and maybe even lives. Signing some autographed memorabilia. Kids, if you're getting those, don't resell. Keep it for memories.
And I think that's probably pretty well known at this point. Bear Jones has like shared and signed his fair share of things. But if it's the portly adult that's like, oh, I got 6 things, can you put? And it's like, no. Like, that's where Mikey has a hard and fast rule of like, who's it to? Because once you put that on, you can't resell it.
Right.
It's like to John. It's like, okay, I'll do that. But if you just sign your name and it's like some guy that has like 6 helmets, he's like, oh, I need your autograph, and can you put 2-time All-Nick? No.
Yeah,
I know what you're doing.
He's made a calendar of AI shirtless pictures of him.
Don't see that. I would sign
like a fireman.
Like I got a ball signed by Alex Bregman whenever I was 12 years old. Still got it. Hold on to those things. So kids, hold on to those memories. But shout out to Bear Jones.
I also heard that Bear Jones was doing this in the rain delay. Like they were kind of like waiting around trying to figure out what to do, and the fans were all like sticking around. And they started like, and I guarantee I have nothing else to do.
And I guarantee you, it's not just Bear. Like he's just the one that got video. This is the whole team. Like this is a team full of high character guys that love the fan base, love each other, love LSU, love the state, the whole deal. And so the team and Bear Jones, 2 claps, ready. Last but not least, Grant Taylor has been called up by the White Sox, and as much as it deserves 2 claps, because it does, it obviously makes everyone look back and wonder, what if? Right, Lloyd?
Yeah.
What if Grant Taylor had not, it was Tommy John's, huh? Mm-hmm. What if he didn't get Tommy John, and he was still on that roster? Because he was the name before 2023. It was, you've got this Grant Taylor fellow, which is shoving baseballs at people, reaching back and zipping them. And he was supposed to be your ace. Obviously, Paul Skeens ended up being the most dominant pitcher we've ever witnessed with our own 2 eyes. But imagine if you had Paulie, Grant, and Ty Floyd, which would have just been talk about the rotation. But shout out to Grant Taylor, recovering from that injury that he had before the championship run, gets drafted early still because of obviously the potential that he is showing he had, and is now being called up to the show. 2 claps for Grant Taylor. Ready. those are the headlines for today. Don't forget, there he is. There's the there he is, the perfect game top 100 sophomores. You had Tommy White going into 2023, Grant Taylor, Thatcher Hurd.
My beautiful boy.
Thatcher was a drug, man.
It was.
It was a drug. There were some highs, man, and the crash came
Hey,
crashing down.
but whatever. Just when you wanted to stop, like, I think I'm kicking the habit.
And so, I'm going to ask you this question because we talked about it on
I'm gonna do it again.
the watch party. Do you classify Thatcher as a bust in his time at LSU? Because we were talking about who were transfer portal pitcher busts because LSU's had some hits, obviously, with Ianson, Holman, Jump, Skeens. Like, those guys all hits when you're talking about pitching. Is Thatcher Hurd the one that kind of stands out? Like Riley Cooper even hit.
Nate Ackenhausen hit.
Nate Ackenhausen hit. Paul Gervais.
Big hit.
Come on. You can go down the list. Is Thatcher Hurd kind of the outlier? Because in my opinion, for what you were expecting him to be, it was a miss. The man helped you win a national championship. Came out and closed out against Wake Forest. Opened up against Florida in the national championship final. Like, he did his job in a sense of you don't win the national championship without him.
Right. So that's why he can't be. But I think it's almost would be a credit to him to call him a bust because the talent was so immense. And whenever you saw it, you're like, how was this not 15-1?
Well, I think if you cut it off at 23, like it's done after Florida, game 3, the conversation really isn't even being had. But it's the fact that it turned around and going into 2024, it was Thatcher Hurd's your Friday night guy.
Mm-hmm.
He got the opportunity, and
he never really wasn't that guy.
Right.
But then when you, just like I said, when you want to be like, I'm off Thatcher Hurd or stop putting him in the Friday night role, I don't want to do this drug anymore, like I don't have a good time. And then you look up.
You just get a sniff of it.
And then you have to play North Carolina, and you're like, Thatch, you ready?
Yeah.
Need you. He worked
and it looked good.
5 2/3, 2 hits. 2 runs on 6-6, no walks, 6 strikeouts. You're like, that's the guy.
Especially the start of it, because I think
he was elite.
I think it kind of went downhill like as he stayed out there.
Yeah.
The start of it, I was like, oh, Thatch is back. I was like, this is postseason Thatch.
It was. And then he kind of it tailed off towards the end, but he also did his job, and that's why you can't consider him a bust because when you actually needed it the most. Now there was sometimes Thatcher went out there and gave you 1 1/3 on a Friday night and a start in SEC play. That's like, go get him, because now it's gone. And then you just had to realize that if Thatcher isn't going to pitch that great, you got to go get him. But if he can get through the first, and then you're like, oh, he might go 7 of no-hit baseball and have 12 strikeouts. It was just one of the most mercurial pitcher I think LSU has ever had.
It was
when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's awful.
Yes.
But even if it didn't, work out perfectly to plan, the larger point we were making though is that if you are a transfer pitcher,
where else in the world would you
aren't
want to
you looking here first? Why aren't you batting down the hatches to get in here? Because the track record we've had at taking guys in and turning them out as much higher rated prospects, if not, the best pitcher in the world.
Right.
It's, it's pretty incredible. And the fact that he's maybe, despite the fact that he was still a guy that did a lot of things and helped us win a national championship, fuck, that's a good argument.
Yeah, no, it is. And on top of that, now, like, Cade Anderson adds another layer to that of, look, this is a guy we recruited out of high school, came in, rocky freshman season, development, opportunity, #1 pick.
Right.
Spot relief guy.
He was your midweek
starter.
But you could tell it's like, oh man, if he figures it out. And I don't think anybody saw Cade Anderson #1 first overall pick. You were like, draft eligible sophomore, maybe comes back for his junior year, but you could see like everything that he did. That's why you yanked him around a little bit last year because you're trying, like, you could see it, and that's the Thatcher Hurd part of it. Like, put him in, it's like, okay, never mind. And then the next year comes back, you're like, oh my god.
I would like to give some flowers to my dad. Bless up. He saw him last year, and he said, we better not lose this kid.
Yep.
Because he's like, I think that we can develop this guy into an animal.
Yeah, and you did.
Yeah, and he was totally right. He was wrong a lot, but he fucking nailed Cade Anderson. So
the last take's your best take. That's like, and then you'll have the same conversation about Schmidt.
Yes. Yeah. And Evans and Williams and Rizzi, like, you've got this freshman class that is showing you the signs and the flashes, some more than others. Obviously, Case and Evans looks like he could be the guy already. But like now you get an offseason, develop these guys, turn them into like LSU could the next conversation next year could be, oh look at they have too many arms.
Yeah, the arms
how
are
do they have
rolling
so
out
many?
there.
And
then
we don't even know who's coming in the portal class yet.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's
Right. Now, I don't know how much they'll go into the portal. Obviously, they've added 2 additions with, what was it, Simpson from High Point and then Dardar. Got Dardar coming home.
Dardar Binks.
I thought I saw that somebody
They've made contact.
It was a contact? Okay.
Yes,
all
they've
right.
made contact with some. They are going to add.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. I just think this will be like one of the smaller portal classes Johnson
probably
has added because of the high school class you brought in last year.
And the guys that came from the high school class that didn't go.
Yes. The portal class you brought in last year, there will be some that stick. You're going to bring in some portals. Then you're going to bring in high school class this offseason. But then you still have guys like Milam and Larson and Jake Brown and guys that are here, sophomores, aren't draft eligible, will stick around and be there. So
and
that's a little looking ahead to the future. But
part of that conversation, NCAA is reducing college baseball teams from 40 to 34 players next year. But
yeah, I mean, that plays a part in it, definitely.
you can also pay them now.
Yes.
Like that's part of your revenue sharing.
Right.
But you have to trim down your roster, and that's where those are tough conversations you have to have. Like, 'cause 6 people, that's still the 6 people.
Yeah, it's 6 people.
And you're like, yeah, it'd be fun to have you on the team, and then it's you. Like, we're gonna have to. You gotta walk.
Right.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, like wish it could have worked out differently. Situation. So that's obviously looking in the future, but the present is that LSU, Arkansas, 6 p.m. Saturday night in Omaha. We will have John Eads join us at 8 a.m. to talk about the Tigers. Get ready for Omaha. The reason he's coming in early this week is because he's getting ready, packed up to go to Omaha. So he'll be in here today at 8 a.m. to talk LSU baseball as they win the Super Regionals 2-0. This is so Jay Johnson at LSU, right? Been to the Supers twice. Has not lost a game in the Supers. What, you 2-0 sweep Kentucky, and now you 2-0 sweep West Virginia. Shout out to Jay and the guys as they got the job done this past weekend, and they are headed to Omaha, which is where they belong. Rightfully deserve. All is right in the world. The businesses in Omaha are definitely ecstatic. Rocco's is fired up. The owner of Rocco's is probably fired up. I don't know if the employees of Rocco's are quite as fired up. They're going to be the Popeyes meme.
Get ready to learn Adderall, buddy.
Oh, gosh. Where it's going to be like, we got to do this again? Because what was the number? It was 68,888.
Yeah.
Is LSU's record.
That is the
There's
actual.
no way you I don't want to say
88,888.
Is that confirmed?
No, that's
No,
that's the next number.
That's his guess.
Oh, okay. But 68 is real, right?
Yeah, no. They last time in 2023 they got 68,888
That
Jello
is
shots.
just unhealthy. I love it.
Well, and I was there for
Right.
a lot of it.
Witness with
a
your
lot
own
of
two
these
eyes.
were consumed. Now, people say we kind of
We crowdfunded.
Yeah, we fluffed the numbers a little bit, but I can't help if Todd Graves wants to go in and buy 20,000 Jello shots. I can't help if Gordon McCurdy wants to go in and buy 100,000 Jello shots. That's not for me to decide.
They're still being bought and paid for.
and eaten.
Yeah, like, I mean, and the majority of them are still getting put back.
You need a
I
fork
promise.
and knife for
Yeah,
this.
they were not putting away pallets of purchased and unconsumed Jello shots
they weren't.
at the end of the night. I
He wasn't
guarantee you
throwing
that.
them back.
Yeah, put them in the dumpster. No.
And Brian Burgess just asked, should the corporate brought shots count toward the total?
Sure,
Yes.
they're purchased, and it goes to a good cause.
Yeah, no, of course. Like, they're still being bought. Like, it should go towards it. So, LSU in Omaha this weekend, like we said. To get back on the Jordan Arsenal discussion before we get John Eads in here to talk LSU baseball. Like we said, Jordan Arsenal is headed to Athletes First, which is an agency that usually dealt in NFL, but he's going to help with the college revenue aspect, the revenue sharing aspect in college football. And like Pete Nako said, Arsenal has experience on the team side with negotiation and managing a multi-million-dollar budget. He knows the recruiting system well. He knows NIL well. He understands all of the new eras, and this is a step in the right direction of understanding the next era. And this is obviously a loss for LSU. Now, I'm not going to say it's a a huge loss that LSU will never be able to recover from, because that's not true. But I am a Jordan Arsenal fan. He served an extremely, extremely helpful purpose at LSU. His job is an important one, and he did it to the best of his ability and to the extent of success for LSU, where you're dealing in the NIL world, which, like we said, you're building an airplane in the air while it's flying. And he helped LSU kind of step into this new iteration, new generation of college sports, and now he's taking his next step in the next generation as well. But as much as LSU was losing in that department, in Jordan Arsenal, you still have a pretty strong leader from that standpoint in Austin Thomas, your general manager, who, like we've said, has been ahead of the curve from the NIL standpoint, helped build it at Ole Miss, comes back to LSU, helps put together the best offseason in the sport this past offseason from an NIL transfer portal perspective. And you got to trust that man to keep it going. And I believe that Austin Thomas, as much as we're talking about Jordan Arsenal ahead of the curve, understanding the landscape from the NIL perspective as well as revenue sharing, Austin Thomas is in that same discussion. He understands the way all of these things work. We talked about the mathematics that were put together to create the roster they have now. I guarantee you Austin Thomas is going to be on the same timing, doing the same thing to build the rosters for the future. So no reason to panic. I don't know if anyone was panicking. Shout out to Jordan Arsenal. Like I said, he was a cog in this machine for LSU. He played a significant role and will be missed. But LSU has the right man in charge in Austin Thomas, and his kumbaya between him and Scott Woodward worked out obviously well this past offseason and will continue to do so moving forward. So I'm excited for what's next for LSU football, because I think Austin Thomas is going to continue to build and build and build and put together a roster that should compete year in and year out.
Well, and you've seen what's happened to LSU's roster since Austin Thomas got to LSU. The structure of what you were doing completely changed.
Yes.
Like, he was the one that was kind of put in charge of how do you tackle the transfer portal, how do you assign value to these names, and what do you pay ultimately.
Right.
And, like, what's your positions of need, what do you need, like, how do you do this is really what I got from the Austin Thomas hire, because you saw Ole Miss, when he was there, they started building through the portal at a very rapid rate. Then you go and get him, LSU starts looking like that's the model, because that's what Austin Thomas was doing. And I was doing it at LSU, and you're starting to see his fingerprints on what seems to be probably the best roster Brian Kelly's ever had. And that's not a coincidence that Austin Thomas is a part of that.
Not at all.
No shade to the previous portal classes, because some really good players came out of them. But the top to bottom quality of this one is just
and addressing
so
needs.
much better. Yeah.
Like, the conversation last year with the defense was Blake Baker knows what he's doing, doesn't have the horses to fully get the job done. They went out there, completely retooled that defense. When you look at every single position besides linebacker, you're expecting transfers to play a significant role. At safety with Halsey and Cooley, corner with Mansour Delane, Jakeem Jackson, defensive line with Sadir Mitchell and Bernard Gooden, edge rusher with Jamari Butler, Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn. All of those spots you're expecting safe transfers to come in and play a huge role. And then offensively as well, putting guys in specific spots of need to find success. And I guarantee you, in this new world of revenue sharing, as it may have just been passed, Austin Thomas is ready to go with a plan and a course of action to move forward and continue to find success for LSU. So if you haven't noticed, right here in front of me, you see a familiar product, a familiar name joining the team. We talked about it yesterday. Range Fit is back. We've got the 3 flavors right here in front of me. Excited to welcome Range Fit back to the team. As I went by and picked these up yesterday, obviously we've still got AJ Sports Cards right here, but this is Range Fit. You see the flavors: strawberry kiwi, blueberry acai, lemon lime. Lloyd's got the packets back there next to him. We showed you Range Fit yesterday, obviously. No sugar. And this is the time that you need the hydration more than anything. Travel ball, Metro ball, summer ball, it's all getting ready.
Metro booming.
Drinking
7
before
on 7,
Omaha.
it's all starting. And then going to Omaha, it's hot. It's hot.
For those of us who no longer play sports, but
You could have, you could have used it this past weekend. Lloyd's got the packets back there. But if you're a
About to
parent,
rip a stick.
if you're a parent and you want to make sure your child is hydrated playing summer baseball or softball or football or soccer, even basketball in the air condition, go to rangefit.com. Use go.
Or if you just go on a bender.
Yeah, and you just need to.
Like
you need to.
said, if you're just none of us, no longer
Too many Jello shots.
Or if you don't
Pop
have
a
a full
range fit.
colon,
Yeah. Also,
which I'll never stop bringing up for to make
Range
a point
Fit
and for
is
attention.
Crucial in the Louisiana heat. Even it's got all 5 essential electrolytes, not just sodium and potassium. It's all natural, nothing artificial. Like I said, there is 0 sugar, so you will not crash out after you have them. So Lloyd will drink this. He will not fall asleep and miss my cup.
that's right.
Also, Lloyd, could you just pan down one more time real quick to get a shot of both the cards and the range fit? This is just important.
Yep.
Now you see
Pan down.
the one here, the range fit, that's consumable.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And next to the
True.
baseball cards, those are
Consumable?
not consumable.
Or you could put them together.
No.
You
No, we're
could
trying
make
to
a
get
smoothie
people
out
make
of it.
healthy choices.
And one exciting part about Range Fit is if you use code TINGLE, TINGLE, you get 15% off. So if you go to their website, rangefit.com, use code TINGLE, get 15% off, and stay hydrated. So we will take a quick break, and we'll be back with John Eads of WAFB to talk LSU baseball right after this. You going to dry scoop back there, Lloyd?
I'm a dry scoop if I can.
Get that thing open.
I was trying to do 2 things at once.
It's all right.
Down the gullet. Come on.
I'm gonna do it. Same with a little strawberry. Down the hatch, boys.
You're a monster. You know that?
He's just a weird
You're a
guy.
monster. Hydrate, baby.
Racefit.com. Do it now. Do it.
Go Tingle, TINGLE.
T-I-N-G-L-E.
I met her last weekend. So you saw that picture. I know. Yeah. But I know you. I was like, I know you guys. Coach, I love you. I sent you that picture, man. I asked you, Coach, can you send that picture? Yeah. You can send it to my boy. I asked her permission. Coach, I love you. I can't believe my boy's going to
It's like 5.5 years in the making. My dad's like, why are you talking to seventh grader? Because he's really good.
I love you, man. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Yes. Thank you, Lord.
I literally was like, we're going to get to happy on his neck, because if we don't, like, that's, you know, we're not superstitious,
When it comes to your home, the roof over your head matters. At CAS Roofing, we don't just install shingles, we build peace of mind. With years of experience and a commitment to craftsmanship, our team shows up on time, gets the job done right, and treats every project like it's our own home. Whether it's repair, a replacement, or storm damage that caught you off guard, CAS Roofing is ready. We're local, we're dependable, and we stand behind every nail, every shingle, and every promise we make. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about roofing, it's about protecting what matters most. CAS Roofing, built on trust, backed by quality.
All right. John Eads will be joining us shortly. And as we wait for him, he's been crushing the work, as I think he just walked in. Run this video from our guy as he walks in. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. That's how it goes. No, I get it. John Eads has been crushing the work lately, and here's his video.
Not one guy. These guys, they give us the time of day. They're sitting their ass home. But you guys did. It's one thing to know you have a great team. It's another thing to go out there and do it like you did on this field. We won like 35 or 40 home games. And now, clear delineation. Okay? Be smart. Have fun with this tonight. Okay? Tomorrow we'll meet at 4 o'clock. Okay? We get ready for it. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! 2, 1, 2, LSU! Let's go!
All right, welcome back here. Great stuff there. Sabrion's fired up because he commented on the video earlier wanting to watch it. There it is. That is as good as it gets. And the man who delivered it has joined us in John Eads from WFB. Good morning. Thank you for getting here.
Thanks for having me. Apologies for being
Oh,
No,
a little tardy there.
we don't know. We are not on a strict timeline.
Pride myself
here.
as a man of
Faith?
faith, and being on time. And
I don't know if you'll ever be on that microphone again.
as Castellanos.
Deep drive to left.
No, thanks for having me, though.
Of course. We
Fun week.
appreciate it. Yeah, no, I mean, how was the weekend?
Oh, weekend was, it's kind of an encapsulation of the whole year.
Right.
Rain delays, but exciting games and good vibes. There are a lot of those types of weekends. And, I feel like everybody here in this city and around the state just had this high degree of confidence that LSU was just going to smash West Virginia.
Right.
And you felt that last year, too, where if LSU had won the Chapel Hill Regional, they would have done the same thing. West Virginia had some good players. We previewed the game. We talked about it in here. But it never felt like LSU was threatened. You know what I mean? Not from face value, not from facade. And really in the game, they weren't – West Virginia went up 1-0, right, in the first game. And then that was basically it. It was all LSU from then on. So it almost felt like fool's gold, like it was too good, but it wasn't because they won and they're going to Omaha. And, as I like to think of it this way, you guys talked about it earlier in the show. I was listening to it while I was in the treadmill and driving over here. The speed limit, of course.
Of course.
That Omaha is one of your goals. Hosting a regional, super regional is one of your goals. But in order to accomplish the ultimate goal, you have to make it to the dance, right? You got to get on the party bus and get over there. LSU didn't do that last year. They've done it. Now they've got the opportunity to compete for it, and that's all you need is a chance to do that. So they've got that now, and I think there's no other way to put it. The weekend was an absolute smashing success, aside from the rain delay.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we talked about it when you were here on Friday, previewing the game. We all thought it was going to be 2 games. LSU wins both and rolls on through. I think our prediction on how it was going to go down was a little wrong. We kind of expected Anderson and Einstein to go out there, shut them down, and roll through. And instead, they kind of had an off weekend to their standard. And the offense was the machine that got you through it. Talk about that offensive performance where on Saturday it's grand slam, 3-run home run, grand slam, and then on Sunday it's chipping away. It's a base clearing double. It's a 2 RBI single, and then Jake Brown obviously hits the 2 RBI home run, the 2-run shot. Talk about the offensive performance from the Tigers and kind of the confidence that could instill in this next journey going into Omaha.
A lot to talk about. I think one of our talking points going into the series was the lineup. Jay mixed it up against Little Rock on the Monday game, and that worked out really well. The way he put it was that was kind of a risk. And it kind of makes me think to different points during the regular season when he took risks with the lineup and positional versatility and stuff. And I feel like it didn't pay off really ever. Anytime he mixed things up or changed things up, like he put Barrett third. We all know what happened with that. Tried to put Jake Brown at first. That obviously didn't work as well because that's Jarrett's spot and whatever. Against A&M, they mixed things up in that second game with a doubleheader. They put Pearson in. They moved Curiel to the bottom of the lineup and stuff like that.
Bear was lead off.
Yeah. Just didn't work. changed things up dramatically against Little Rock. It worked. They put up a lot of runs. It was cohesive. There was that consistent pressure, and I wondered if they would change that up or if they would stick with that in the Super Regional against West Virginia, and they did, really. I mean, the second lineup looked more like it has this year with DC kind of at the top, but in the first game, he hit like 7th, and everybody was different. You know,
Right.
you had Dickinson in the 6th spot, and Milam up at cleanup, I think, and Fry hitting 2nd. But it was the recipe, you know? Maybe Jay saw something when he just got to hyper-focus on one team where they could expose some things, and it really worked out well. And it wasn't one of those things where it was only the right-handed guys producing. Like Derek hit an Oppo home run off a lefty, right? And that was another talking point all year. Is left-handed pitching is kind of the Achilles heel of this batting order. And people were talking about that on social media. Oh, a lefty, you say. Griffin Kern. Oh, boy. This could be interesting. Not so much. And I think why is obviously the heat plays a factor. The conditions, but you know what? That's what you get when you earn the opportunity to host a regional and super regional. You get that as a built-in advantage. If you don't like it, then win more games and be a national seed yourself. And I thought everybody did a great job of making every pitch matter. It sounds like dumb and cliche and whatever, but it really means something. You know, when through 2 innings, Jack Kartsonis, West Virginia's Saturday guy, I know the game was on Sunday,
Right.
was up to like 52 pitches in the 2nd inning. You know,
I think
like
he finished with 67
Yeah.
after 2.
Yeah, and I thought they got the yank pretty early.
Uh-huh.
I was kind of confused why they took Kern out after like 4 and Kartsonis out after like 3 or 4, whatever it was. But I guess Coach Saban's, West Virginia's coach, thought there were guys in the bullpen that could get to the lineup a little bit better. They just wanted to mix things up, or maybe they were trying to keep them for a game 3. Had there been one. But the point is, you got them out of the game. West Virginia's bullpen, we talked about it, has some good guys at the top, but kind of lacking from a depth standpoint. So eventually you got to them, and that's why you saw the 6-run innings, the 7-run innings. And not to mention, West Virginia did itself no favors, walking 8 guys, hitting 5 batters. It's the same stuff we saw when LSU played Little Rock, and they lost that game that would have sent them to the Supers on the Sunday or whatever it was. You just can't do that, especially not against a team like LSU that's good enough as it is. So really every facet of the game, fielding, the pitching wasn't necessarily elite, but I think there's things that you can pull away from that. Like you wouldn't keep Kate Anderson in the game as long as you did if it wasn't a regional format, a super regional format. Maybe the same thing with Ianson. And plus, I mean, you have some really good bullpen pieces that just continue to get better and better. So, I mean, and when you're scoring 16 runs and 12 runs, especially this time of year,
14 a game.
you're probably going to win most of your games.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, and the offense adds another layer of confidence to the arms, where it's like you feel a whole lot differently about Chase Shores and about Zach Cowan, Casey Neff, Cooper Webb, go down the list when you have run support than when it's 5-4 ball games or 4-3. When you're scoring 12, 14, 10 runs a game, the confidence is completely different. One of those bullpen arms that I brought up, and that is Cooper Williams. The job he did. Obviously, we talked about him last weekend against Little Rock, where he stepped in 3 2/3, looked really good. He got another opportunity, and in my opinion, when you look at the game on Sunday, where I thought the moment was kind of West Virginia's at the point Cooper Williams came in the game, where LSU hadn't scored since the second.
Yeah, what was it, 5-3 or something?
It was 6-4.
6-4.
West Virginia had just scored their 4 runs the last 2 innings. Ianson got put back out for the bottom of the 6th, hits the first batter. It's a runner on, no outs. Cooper Williams puts in the game, 3 straight outs. Just completely. Yeah. And then the top of the 7th, the LSU offense exploded. Talk about the job the freshman did for LSU.
Incredible. And we haven't seen that all year. But as we've talked about, with like Kason Evans, when he had that performance against Little Rock, like this time of year, those kinds of people emerge and those kinds of stories just happen. Right. And Coop's had his moments this year. He's had his good outings where he's gone out there and done the matchup thing well, gotten you 3 outs, did what he's supposed to do. But he's also had the outings where he goes in and he can't find the zone and he gets pulled without recording it out. But he's gotten better and better, I think, quietly as the season's gone along. And now he's starting to break out. And the biggest thing for me is the consistency. Like, we've seen different guys in this bullpen go out and have one good performance, right? Like DJ Primo have a good day. Jacob Myers will have a good day. Chase Shores will have a good day. But then the next, they don't have the same command. They don't have the same control. And they're pulled quickly. But with Cooper, that's 2 straight outings where he extends and he looks dominant. The only blemish he had was the solo homer.
Right.
But if you're going to allow a single solo homer in 3 2/3 or so, I mean, that's starter caliber stuff, and solo homers aren't going to beat you more often than not. So he looked really good, and that's huge because especially when you go to Omaha, y'all know how it is. You were talking about it earlier. You're going to need to, if you're in the loser's bracket or whatever it is, you're going to need to scrape into the, not the bottom of the barrel, but you're really going to need to pull guys out of the bullpen and have them be inserted into roles they're not typically used to, like a Thatcher Hurd was, like a Javen Coleman was, on Nate Ackenhausen, many more. And I think Cooper Williams could be one of those guys where you're in an elimination setting, you got to win to stay in it. He goes out there and starts for you and gives you 3 or 4 innings, kind of like Griffin Herring. He also is a lefty, so that helps with that too. So really good to see him emerge. You just can't have enough arms this time of year. And it's huge also because the way he extended, Kaysen Evans didn't pitch in this regional. Zach Cowan didn't pitch in this regional. So you got those two on just about 2 weeks rest going into Omaha, which is massive.
Speaking about Omaha, we had the reseeding discussion earlier, and this kind of breaks away from talking LSU, just more Omaha. I know Charlie Mack was trying to come hang out with you.
What is that?
I don't know. It just kind of.
It's the ghost of Charlie Mack.
Yeah,
he's getting.
here.
Yeah, he's
I
inside
think
you.
the picture got aroused as I was talking about Cooper because
that
it's
sounds
so
like a Charlie Mack kind of player
for this time of
year.
year.
It's an LSU guy through and through. But reseeding, when you look at the College World Series and LSU Arkansas, probably the best game that anyone could have had. The NCAA, the ESPN, LSU, like everybody, that's the game you want to see. It's happening on Saturday and not the next weekend in the championship series.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on reseeding as the 8 teams are setting it back up through rankings or however?
I think it just is what it is. I know this tournament's a little bit different than the basketball tournament, just with how it's series play and stuff, and it's more like, kind of pool play more so than it is, one game and you keep moving along and whatever. But we see this in all the NCAA tournaments, I feel like Duke UNC, we saw that a couple years ago, Coach K, Coach Williams. Like that was a national championship level matchup that wasn't the national championship. Even the college football playoff, you'll see 2 national championship
Georgia,
caliber
Ohio
teams
State.
go at it in a game that's not the national championship.
Right.
And then, they might see a lesser opponent in some respects in that next game, and that's just how it works out. Some of it's luck of the draw, and some of it's you handle your own business. Even I'll take it all the way back to 1980 when the U.S. played Russia in the Miracle on Ice game. That wasn't the gold medal game. That was the silver medal game or whatever it was. The one before that, they still had to go and beat
the semifinal.
Sweden or Finland, I think, in the championship to win the gold medal. Like, it's just that's how sports are, and that's how tournament settings are. So it's kind of a bummer that it works out that way, that the 2 on paper best teams have to play each other in the game that's not for the national championship, and they'll probably have to play each other multiple times to decide who goes to the national championship. But you could say the same thing maybe about when LSU won the Natty, Wake Forest. That game was national championship caliber when Skeens and Lauder went at it. You know what I mean? So, but that's kind of how it is with college baseball too. Every week we talk to Jay before a series. He's like, "Yep, this is an Omaha caliber team."
Yep.
Exactly. So you're essentially playing national championship level games the entire year. And when you make it to Omaha, you have to expect to play these quality opponents. So, it's best on best, essentially. These 2 have been 2 of the best teams in the SEC the entire season. So play it out, and the better team will get the opportunity to play for the national championship. And by that point, it might be a lighter weight that you're seeing than it is a heavyweight. So it's a bummer that they're not on opposite sides, or they can't, put
reseed it.
LSU is the 1 seed, but it just is what it is. And all you want is an opportunity to compete for a natty, and you've got that. And now it's time to go do it against a team that you've already beat twice.
Because if you were to reseed it or what have you, what do you do if Arkansas Little Rock had advanced?
Right.
Where do you put them? So, and even if they were to be a lower seed, it's like that team that I just saw play. They're not a 16 seed.
Murray State.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to play to get here, so I think it's almost unfair if you were to go back and look like, oh, I see what you did to get here, you get reseeded.
Yeah.
And so it would be that's not what the tournament is. And like you said, LSU played Wake Forest in 2023. It felt like a national championship. And so you still have to go, but then there's Florida on the other side that it's not supposed to be easy, But
No.
it certainly is one of the hardest championships to win in all of sports.
I think you damage the integrity of the tournament
Yeah.
as well when you change the seeding mid-tournament. You know
Right.
what I mean?
It's just because you have such a dynamic of what Omaha is. Like, you're going to this place,
Yeah.
and so it feels like you're reshuffling the deck a little bit. But just because you're all going to a separate venue now and, like, all together, I don't think that's why. But it's just one of the few sports that has a set host for what you're doing. And so I think just with, like, the Omaha lure of, like, all right, you punched your ticket to Omaha. These are the 8 teams. Do we redo an Omaha bracket? Like, I could see the conversation why it would happen, but it's just because of the way the format is why you even have the conversation. Because if you were still playing, or like you had different, like 4 teams over here and 4 teams over here, and then you would go for a championship. It's just the way that they're all going to be there. It's like, well, let's make a new bracket.
Yeah.
But I'd like the way that it is right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's, like people are going to – it's different every year. Like some years the bracket's really strong and it's 6 SEC teams and 2 ACC. This just happens to be a year where it's not. And I don't know. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. It is a bummer that coincidentally it's, the 2 national seeds, the 2 best national seeds are playing each other in the first round. But, just it is what it is.
That's how the cookie crumbles. So. Going to Omaha, you have Stephen Milam playing his best baseball, where he has brought his batting average up to almost 300 over the last 2 weekends because he continues to deliver. He had a grand slam on Saturday. He has the base clearing double on Sunday when he steps up with 2 outs. Talk about the job he's done and what he means to the LSU lineup moving forward.
Means a lot. Really has opened things up. I think we had a discussion recently about which guys needed to step up to help LSU kind of unlock its potential offensively. DC was one. He's done that. Milam was another. He's done that. And he just brings a lot to the table because he's that switch hitter, you know. So when other teams want to go to the bullpen and bring somebody in to match up, they can't against a guy like Milam, and he's in the middle of the lineup, So the top of the order has done a really good job. I think where LSU has lacked at points this season is that 5, 6, 7 spot. They're not getting a lot of production from in there, but everybody was producing. And when those top of the order guys get on base, DC, Fry, Jones, Dickinson, especially the guys that take the most professional at-bats, I think, and get on base via the walk, the hit by pitch, or a single, whatever it is, somebody's got to flip the order within the order to get to a Stanfield who's at the bottom. And I think Milam's been that guy, and it's just sparked some life for this offense because it's not you're relying on your, I know it's weird to say this, but your 9 through 4 guys to score runs. Everybody's getting involved. Even Luis Hernandez had a couple pops and has gotten on base a lot more recently. So seriously, everybody's, aside from third base, still a little bit. Reeves had some good ABs. Braswell's had his moments.
About 4 that should have went out of the park,
Yeah.
but somehow didn't.
Yeah, that happened a lot this weekend. I'm not sure why, and it's happened a lot in the past couple weeks. It's been a collective effort, and that's why you're putting up such big numbers, and the pressure's been constant the way it is. So, maybe it's the hair, maybe it's the walk-up song. I mean, Steven says it at press conferences. He likes the pressure. He likes the lights, the national TV. Postseason, 2 times through, and there's still more life on this one, obviously. He has played his best baseball.
Yeah.
And he's been consistent defensively the whole year. I mean, it goes without saying.
Right.
So, he's really opening things up. And it's big because, I watched back the 23 tournament, and they didn't get a ton out of Jordan Thompson from an offensive standpoint. I don't want to call him out or anything.
Right,
but
right.
it's
No,
just,
he's very aware. The crowd made him very aware.
See-
It was a disaster. Like, they started booing him in Omaha, and it was like, what are you doing? He's been your starting shortstop for 56 games. Like, it was, and then you had a real seminal moment where, like, they had to do a rally and cry, be like, stop booing this man, cheer for him. It actually worked. Like, LSU fans listened for once. Like, this is terrible optically. Jordan Thompson knows he's struggling. Like, he doesn't need to hear it from, like, that's supposed to be your guy.
Right.
And then that's where you get the great clip of Alex Milazzo where when Thompson was struggling, he's like, hey, if you need somebody to believe in you, just look at me. Like, I'm here with you. We all are. And that's where you can kind of see. And then the crowd started giving him standing O's whenever he went to the plate. It kind of flipped everything. So,
that.
Thompson struggled, but then he, whenever you needed him to, like, the crowd got behind him, and then LSU did what LSU does, and he started to get a couple hits.
Yeah, and he continued that strong defensive play.
Right.
But my point is that Milam's bringing that plus the offense. And when you're getting production from your shortstop, it just expands your potential. So, it's huge.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you can look back to last year, and you can see how differently constructed this offense is as opposed to what you had when it was Bear Jones, Tommy White, everybody else figured out. And now it's, like you said, 1 through 9, where it feels like if they get hot and they get even putting Curiel at 7, whenever they turn the lineup over, and it feels like LSU comes at you in waves whenever they're hitting the way that they are, and that's how you score what? Is it 28 runs?
28 runs
in 2 games. We're like, oh, you were worried about, like, if you'd have told me Kate Anderson and Anthony Ianson, you would have showed me their lines, but don't tell me what LSU does offensively.
You would
think
like,
whoa, what happened? I don't think we're going to Omaha.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, you forget that LSU's offense, when it's right, is as scary as anybody in the country.
Yeah. And made me think of last year in Chapel Hill, because I remember Jay made lineup changes in that elimination game, and it didn't go well. They only scored 3 runs, I think. He had Tommy White leading off. Mm-hmm. It just goes to show how much better and more complete, and I guess maybe even committed to what the plan is. Maybe it's just a better plan, or your guys are more tailored to fit into that plan, whatever it might be. Because last year they didn't produce. They didn't get the big swing. They didn't get guys on base consistently. And that's why they lost, and ultimately their season came to an end, because you got to have that complementary baseball and the ability to get a 2-run lead, if not more. And I just feel like this year's team is much more complete in the sense that you have the starting pitching, the bullpen is coming along, and that is kind of the ceiling for the offense, what they did this weekend.
Nobody's beating that.
Yeah.
That's when they play like that. That's why they were the number 1 ranked team in the country.
Right.
And you could, like, Jay will even tell you, like, last year the way it's constructed is like, I don't like playing baseball like this. And you see what he did to go out and make moves, and this is a Jay Johnson team. This one right now, this is what he wants baseball to look like. You could tell when he talks about it, like the constant pressure, the running, like even whenever you have, talking about Luis Hernandez, he gets smoked and like warrior. Then he gets to second, sees nobody's at third, and takes and steals the bag. Like, that's your awesome catcher. And he's like, well, as good as that was, we also need to have a conversation about what are we doing at third. He's like, you got to take the good with the bad. But, like, to even have it, like, that's heads-up baseball. That's taking an extra 90 feet. That's how you win. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what Jay wants to see from his squad. You can see whenever it's rolling right, I would not want to play him. Certainly not in Alex box. And that's what I wanted to ask you, because you were there for that game had to be 1,000 degrees. And you saw West Virginia laboring out there. Could you see
the first one or the second one?
Second one. I know the first game. First game against West Virginia, where it's during the day, 1 p.m. Like, did you see, like, kind of like, oh man, they might be out on their feet here?
I think so, because I was walking back and forth from the media tent to where I would stand on the first base side, and like half the crowd was like, ooh, inside, like, in the shade, because it was that hot. I was even like,
of course,
whew. And I'm never like that,
right?
So it was extremely hot, and maybe that's why Kern only lasted a couple innings. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to take a toll on you at some point when you're exerting. They said in the press conferences, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We'll be hydrated, electrolytes won't get to us that much, but it gets to you. I mean, it gets to – they were bringing IVs into LSU's locker room. Mm-hmm. I saw them bringing them in. Like, so it's affecting everybody, maybe one team more so than the other. So, I mean, you could just look at the statistics of the game. It's hard to kind of see from where we stand if it's really, like, impacting, West Virginia's players and stuff like that. But the way the game went, you could just see that one team was in better shape than the other. And that's a big testament to Chris Martin and the preparation of the strength staff and the roster collectively, I think, too.
Jay said yesterday, after game 1, he sent them all to the LSU football facility.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you don't go, it's like, it's not mandatory, but if you don't go, you're not going to play. And he's like, it's a far cry from what it used to be like, is what he was saying, like, whatever he was at Nevada. And, like, even Arizona is like, to have a $120 million facility that we can use is a pretty nice coup if you want to come to LSU. Mm-hmm. Always recruiting. Always pitching something.
Facts.
Always.
Well, I think Coach Saban's, the West Virginia coach, in the postgame talked through the decision. I wasn't there for this part because I was on the field doing interviews or whatever after that first game. But I think he mentioned that Kern's velo was down, wasn't locating, different stuff like that. And you have to think that the weather played a role in that. Just straight fatigue. And that's it.
On top of that, with the weather, talk about the fan base, the atmosphere. Both games, like, think about they had to go through the heat and the weather on Saturday, then the weather and the rain delays on Sunday, put them through all the adversity, and they still were rocking. Talk about the atmosphere and the fan base this past weekend.
Yeah, great atmosphere. I mentioned the heat on Saturday, and the fans stuck it out. They were troopers. A lot of people out there. I know some people were kind of hiding in the shade and stuff. They were still glued to the TV down there. I don't blame them. It was extremely hot that day, and not everybody can afford to pay $7 or $8 for a water. You know what I mean?
Right.
So electric. I think everybody was bummed about the rain delay on Sunday because I was on the field. I think it was like, I don't know, an hour before, 40 minutes before, something like that, and we were getting ready for warm-ups. They just finished up batting practice, and everybody was ready to go. They were all filing in, and then they made the rain delay announcement for an hour. So I think everybody hung around. But then once they made the rain delay announcement for 3 hours after it was supposed to start, people started to leave and head home, and fans were pretty upset as they were walking past me because I was getting set up to do some work for the channel after the first rain delay, which didn't end up happening. But just kind of getting a pulse on the fan base and stuff. A lot of people just went to walk-ons.
Right.
Some West Virginia fans came up to me and they were like, I forget what they said originally. They were asking where some restaurant is, and I'd never heard of it before, but they meant to say walk-ons. I was like, oh, that's over there.
It's right there. Just follow everyone.
Yeah.
Where's that restaurant with the non-scholarship players?
They said a different name, like I don't even remember. Champion Grill. I don't even know.
Yeah.
That way. So I think everybody just went to walk-ons and hung out, and definitely still filled up a couple hours after the fact. I even talked to somebody. They had, I'm not going to say who it was. They had a kid. They said, I don't think we're going to be coming back because it's past his bedtime. They were back at the game.
Yeah,
of course.
So, great crowd, great atmosphere. It's, it's like that every week, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's a 56-game playoff for the players, but it also is for the fans because they are there all the time, no matter what, and it's just different here. It simply is. It gets said on repeat, but it really is, and it does make a huge difference.
That's what I was about to say. When I was saying about that bottom of the sixth to the top of the seventh in Game 2, where it's Cooper Williams gets that strikeout to close out the bottom of the sixth. Everybody's on their feet screaming, and then the top of the seventh, it starts off with the error by the second baseman again on the Dickinson pop fly, and then Reeves is a 4-pitch walk, and then Hernandez gets hit by the pitch like.
It's over
it
with.
Felt
at that
like
point.
like that was Alec Box.
Oh yeah,
like more than as much as like it was good ABs from the guy. Like Alec Box had came to play and was
swallowed
taking
West
its toll
Virginia
on
whole.
West Virginia.
Yeah, because next thing you know, you got DC coming to the plate and there's 10,000 flashlights going on. And the stadium pulse getting louder and louder and louder. And something else I noticed is that the energy from the dugout is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. Like you see videos of it. Like when Milam's going up to the plate, they've got some little thing they're doing with the EDM music, and the DC has his thing. Everybody's engaged and locked in. And even if you're not out there playing, you're serving some kind of a role in contributing to producing a good outcome. And I can't imagine being an opponent with the music blaring, the bases loaded, there's no outs, it's a super regional, and you got like Jared Jones coming to the plate, with Tops Drop coming.
Right.
And, it's
Nothing like it.
Oh, when it was that, there was a moment whenever they put Fry and Bear back to back, and you're like, oh god, like I don't know if it was Glasscock. It was Glasscock up there that I think he threw 9 pitches,
he shattered,
eight for balls, 1 strike, and you're like, he is, and then.
Nobody could find the zone.
No, but we had boots on the ground reporting that his last warm-up pitch, the fans were wearing him out. And this is after West Virginia's head coach was talking about Clemson's bullpen and how it's too close. And Jay talked about it yesterday where he was like, great stadium design, huh? It seemed like that seems to work out. But Glasscock's last warm-up pitch, he goes to throw it over the net into the stands. And my buddy Jack Ballard, who works with us for Mic'd Up, was like, boys, he just threw this thing, like he missed the net.
God.
Then Mikey and Jay Mitch are like, this is about to be a scene. And he goes out there, and you see it. He leaves 3 up in the zone, walks a guy, and you're just like, he's toast.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have enough time to warm somebody up, and that's how many pitches he could throw. Like, if they'd have thrown 3 pitches and got him out, they would have. They didn't have another guy going. And then you see him, like, laughing when he gets pulled because, like, somebody come help me. Like, I'm not giving you anything that's worth me being out here right now. I'm hurting the team.
Yeah.
And it's like that place swallowed you up.
Yes.
And spit you out. And it was just waves of Alec Box. Like, this is awesome. And if you're West Virginia, like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like the coach was complaining about Clemson. Like, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay, this
take
is
that
a totally
back.
different beast.
It's Clemson on steroids. I remember
Yeah.
him saying that, and I was like, well, it's kind of going to be the same thing because there's no net in front of that first row of fans right next to the opponent
Right.
bullpen.
Bullpen.
There. Now, they're not, probably reaching out and touching people, not to make
Yeah, but I
a
guarantee you can
reference
hear
to that
'em.
song. Reaching
Yeah.
but, they're right in front of your face.
Yeah.
And no doubt they're chirping,
definitely.
And so I don't think they really understood what exactly they were getting into because Clemson is one thing, and I've been in that stadium before, not for a game, but it's not nowhere near as big, I'll tell you that. It's that on steroids.
Yeah.
Like a lot of steroids, like Brian Bosworth level of steroids.
Crack.
Boz.
Yeah.
But
Mark McGuire.
yeah, no, I mean it was an electric atmosphere. Turn the page to football. I want to ask one question. You had a sit down with Jordan Arsenal a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He obviously takes a new job with Athletes First. I don't know how much you know about it, not to put you on the spot, but talk about Arsenal, his job with LSU, kind of the role he served, and the hole he'll be leaving, and kind of what's next.
Yeah, tough loss, and kind of caught me by surprise because I just spoken with him, as he mentioned, and asked him a lot about this year's team and kind of how things were going and everything. And everything he said, the way he was saying it, led me to believe, and I had no thought that he was going to be leaving anytime
Right.
soon or anything because he had just gotten a promotion, right?
Yeah.
And he's been around the program a while, and it seems like he really likes what he does. Not to say that he left because he didn't or whatever, but it just seemed like he had some really good stability there and gave some great insight on revenue sharing and how things were going to be changing over the next couple weeks. So I open up Instagram and I see this. I was like, oh, is this like a job with LSU or something? And I guess not. But I texted him, congratulations,
Right.
of course. And I think it's a good role for him. Like, that's
Definitely.
he's so knowledgeable about that kind of stuff, even though he didn't play in that era. Like,
Right.
He played at Nichols. He had injuries he dealt with, and this was like early 2010s. And since then, he's been a high school coach. He's been a grad assistant. He's been a player personnel guy, and that's kind of what he's done at LSU, kind of moving from Virginia. I think he was at Nichols for some time where he played, and then LSU, obviously, the past couple of years. Really well connected. I think it's a tough loss for this
Yeah.
recruiting department because he played at Edie White. He's a Thibodeau guy. So
he's Louisiana through and through.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So he's well connected everywhere. He's been doing this job for, I think, 3 or 4 years to this point.
Yeah.
With LSU, he got brought in by J.R. Belton, as you mentioned earlier. And what you're losing is a guy that has very, very long and strong relationships
Yes.
with so many different high school coaches
Yeah.
and people around. And that has been such a big emphasis for this Brian Kelly LSU era, is making Louisiana, right? Like bringing those
Right.
players back, keeping those players here.
Especially when you look at the job title of the job he got promoted to, where it's
Yeah.
Director of Recruiting Communications and External Relations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is pretty cut and dried, clear, transparently, like your job is to build relationships, talk to people, which is that's who he is to
Mm-hmm.
a T. Like, he builds relationships, he wants to talk to people, he wants to be around the state, and obviously expand outside Louisiana, but I mean, he is Louisiana through and through.
Yeah, he's that guy. I mean, he's in all the photos with the players
Yep.
at the practices. He's the one that's walking them around, introducing them to the coaches, meeting the parents, shaking the hands, all of that. So you could find someone else that kind of has been around a while,
Yeah.
like Donovan Tate is a well-connected Louisiana guy. JR is, obviously, Coach Wilson
Yes.
is, and everybody
Frank.
on your staff really
Yeah.
goes without saying. So there's certainly some guys you could find to promote or whatever it is, but not everybody has the same relationship with people as, like, you might have a relationship with somebody that is maybe more nurtured than mine with the same person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you've
Right.
known them longer, or you've gone through these experiences, or you are related to them, or you know this guy or that guy. Like Jordan kind of was the guardian to a guy that played at U-High recently. His name's Zay Martin, really good receiver. He's going to Jones, I believe, Community College now. Who else is at U-High? Lamar Brown.
Right.
And so many other great prospects. Keelan Moses was there. Like, that's just built-in connections, that might help you win recruiting battles.
Right.
So it's a tough loss, but I think it's a great position for Jordan.
Great hire by
Absolutely.
Athletes First.
He knows the ins and outs of
Yes.
NIL. He knows the ins and outs of what's coming, and he just gets it. He understands how it all fits together and that things are constantly changing and evolving, and he's always looking for the legal loophole.
Right.
Like, how can I push this to the limit advantageously for myself and my organization without breaking any rules. Like, he gets that and he understands that. And that's just, you can't really, like, that's intangible, I think. So, really nice guy, great guy.
Yes.
And he'll do great things. I think whatever job he's one of those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
So,
And on top of that, like kind of turning the page, obviously that is a loss, but then you still have confidence in Austin Thomas and the job you've obviously seen him do, and then moving forward, like he's proven he has the ability to adapt, learn. Like he went down. You saw, if you read Wilson Alexander's write up on this past offseason, this was something they had planned where he went out to the Seahawks and the Texans to understand how they broke down positions of need and kind of the way the money worked.
Yeah.
LSU's in a great spot with him at the helm.
It's like an NFL model,
Right.
Which I think will help, because it's kind of moving in that direction. You have a salary, you have a limited amount of resources, and you need to have some kind of structure and understanding of what are the most important positions to lead to winning football games. Kind of like Moneyball in some ways, you know what I mean? So instead of
percentage.
Exactly. So instead of going out there and doling out too many of your resources to somebody just because it's a name or it's the number one guy, do you really need to do that? Is that going to necessarily lend itself to team success? I think he's a mastermind, and I wonder with revenue sharing and this whole is it Lloyd, the clearinghouse that's starting?
I think Lloyd.
I wonder if maybe Jordan's role was getting diminished a little bit because of that. Because before he was more involved in the NIL deals and stuff like that, but now it's more so Deloitte or whatever their responsibility.
The landscape is changing.
Do that. Yeah,
right.
I wonder if maybe that had something to do with that. But no, I mean they've got it figured out, it seems, over there. They're in a good spot still. They're definitely going to need to fill that position.
Yeah.
But they've done pretty well with that. You lose Bo Davis. You fill that with a very good hire.
Right, Kyle Williams.
You lose other assistant coaches. You bring in some from Blake Baker, Coach Peoples, and so on and so forth. So they'll need to do that there to continue recruiting well in Louisiana. But the thing about LSU is that alum list is pretty deep.
Yes.
Those family ties are pretty strong. So I'm sure there's somebody you could find that's ready for that position.
And then looking at Omaha from a...
Well, real quick, for the Arsenal thing, do you think that that's a positive for LSU in a way where you have somebody kind of on the inside
connection?
now? You have a connection to where you can kind of
it could be.
see the landscape of it through a different eye. I don't think that's tampering or anything, but you have somebody that clearly had a great relationship with LSU, moves to the other side of it now, and now you can kind of have insider information or an inside track as to how this thing is working, what people are actually offering, like how this whole thing plays out. So it's like LSU has a hire on a staff where the landscape's changing, and now you have somebody that's going to tell you what the landscape looks like before you get to see it.
That's thinking outside the box. Yeah, it definitely could, because I think from what I understand, this is more of an agency that he's joining, right?
Yes.
Which will sign players. And that might be a kind of an inside way of
Ace guard.
Yeah, you sign with Jordan, he'll get you the best deals, and obviously he loves LSU.
And scooch him.
Yeah.
Go this
Legally.
way.
Yeah, just go. Yeah.
So that kind of ties back into what we were just talking about with the loopholes and the
Right.
toe in the line and stuff like that. And maybe when he was telling me all that, that was his way of saying this. Nobody could have predicted this, but this is what might be coming down the line. So
I mean, he probably knew he was leaving while you were talking to him.
I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, it would have been great for him to tell you.
Yeah, that's a great soundbite.
Yeah.
Oh, breaking
I don't
here.
think he would have done that.
No,
But yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, and Lloyd's good at the outside the box thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I had to cheat my whole way
It's
through
because he
school.
eats so much of what's inside
Yeah,
of us.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I would do if I had a way to get somebody that was on staff and you're trying to figure this whole thing out. Why would you not put somebody to have an inside track? If nobody's going to stop you from doing it, or
Right.
nobody else has done it yet,
Right.
doesn't mean it's illegal. And then if it turns out that in 3 years, you can't do that, it's like, oh, well, we did it for 3.
Thanks.
Then you find the next one.
It's too late by that point.
Right.
You know?
He's established.
Ask
It's
for
like,
forgiveness, not permission.
well, it's like LeBron. He started basically started his own agency.
Right.
And it's like, I would like to know what the going rate is for these guys, or if I can get them to sign with my guy, maybe I have a better chance of getting them to the Lakers or the Cleveland or to the Heat, whatever it may be. But
Anthony Davis has signed with Clutch
That's
Sports.
and now he's a Laker.
A year later, he's a Laker.
Yeah. That's
Could be
what
one of those things. And everybody wins. LSU gets the player, Jordan makes a little money, and the player makes money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, no,
Maybe-
that's a good thought.
Yeah, we'll bookmark this for the time that maybe like a Tristan Keys signs with Athletes First.
Yeah, hey,
stays committed
he
to
did
LSU.
just get a massive deal with
Adidas. Yeah.
Which I don't know. Does that play a factor at all? Like, if they sign with Adidas, can they not go to a Nike? Because remember, Haley Van Lith had her deal with Adidas for a while and still transferred to LSU. Like, I don't know if that really plays a factor. Like, if Tristan Key signed with Adidas means he's not coming to LSU because they're a Nike school. I have no
Probably
idea.
not.
I would
It's
assume
probably
not.
like an independent thing where
Right.
they'll still appear in the commercials and stuff. But I'm pretty sure if you're an athlete at LSU, like you're required to wear
course. Nike.
that
Whatever brand it is. Like,
I wonder if that might be something that could change in the next couple years. They
Maybe.
stop doing team-wide deals because of these kinds of things.
there
That
will
is-
always be like an apparel brand.
Yeah,
like-
Flauja has a deal with Puma.
Right.
So, yeah.
But
I mean,
what shoes does she wear on the court?
let's see.
I don't think anybody's out there like, I thought you were signed with Puma. Why are you wearing it?
Yeah, the team issued Nike. But I don't know if because that's changed so much where you see, like, look at LSU baseball and the cleats that they wear. You have
Yeah.
no idea what brand, if they're Nike or whatever they are. It's just they're custom.
Yeah.
And so I'd imagine that if you're Flauja,
She's wearing Nike.
yep,
Yep.
or if it's an Adidas, like I guess Keys. If Adidas is cool with it, like, look, I'll wear Adidas
Anytime.
Monday
Anywhere
through
else.
Friday and on Sunday, but on Saturday I have to wear these.
Yeah.
And I think that they're okay with that because it's more of an outside, like, you represent us on every day but Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I was never blessed enough to be in that position.
No,
No,
yeah,
me either.
me neither. So I have no inside
Well,
thoughts.
Roback,
Yeah,
Facts.
right here on the shoulder. Pet the dog.
My
promo code
sister works
Tigers.
for
TIGRS.
my sister works for New Balance, but that's as close as I'll get
There
to
you
a
go.
brand endorsement.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Would you get anything?
Yeah, you get some
Get a little kickback?
kickbacks.
I get some discounted things like
There
these
you go.
shoes.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, it makes
nice
sense
little
now.
Kickback.
Yeah.
There you go.
It gets the job.
Nice
man.
little. Got an inside man.
You get the dad kicks. What are they, the 504s or whatever?
Those are it.
Look, I mean,
best.
we're all dads in training.
Yes.
That's right.
So-
Well,
Well, hopefully not Lloyd.
No, Lloyd might
Love
go
you,
the
son.
Jay Johnson route.
yeah, exactly.
Too locked in on baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean,
That's fair.
Jay Johnson is Lloyd's father.
That's right. I learned from
According
the
to the fan
best.
base.
So maybe
Yes.
he does have a son after.
Yeah, he does right there.
Love you, son.
Dude,
Love you, dad.
The first interview after they win the national championship, you got to like ask him a question like that. Like, Jay, will you adopt me? Or,
Yeah,
or
I just
something
wanna-
like
I
that.
just wanna-
And he might honestly say yes.
Yes, I'm like
You
getting
know?
him in the right spot.
Yeah.
He already says when he's trying to make the lineup, he just, I just do, what would Lloyd do?
Yeah.
And I just throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
WWLD.
That's right.
Not something to live by, but fair enough. But yeah, no, I mean, so when you do email him like the link to get on, do you say Dad? Here you
No
go,
shot.
Here you go, Dad.
No shot.
I think I keep that to myself. But I can tell you the last one I sent him. I'll read it.
Maybe in a couple of years.
Maybe.
Yeah, like 2 more years. Just
Yeah,
get a
I
little
mean,
bit
one more natty.
Yeah.
Because when I was late, I had to email him and I explained to him.
Yo, wait, hold on. I think he's a huge Will Ferrell fan.
He is.
So if anything, if he thinks it's weird, you just reference the movie Elf.
yeah,
you go.
we
He's
do,
like, Dad.
yeah,
there
we
you
do
go.
a lot of big Tommy Boy guy. Like that's where I
that's all-
that's where I
he's
crack.
one
Like
of
that's
us.
where I cracked the code. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you're actually funny. Nobody knows this, but like the conversations I've had with him off the air is like, oh, totally, I get it.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's unfortunate that I get it too. But the last one I sent him whenever I was late, he's like, Coach, thanks for helping me out. I was a bit nickel today, but you can win with one as long as you put him in the right place. Below's the link to join us. And he was like, I was just talking about bit nickels. Like, unbelievable. He's like, I don't know how you weasel your way out of being in trouble all the time because I'm always in trouble.
Yeah, you've done it your whole life. That's awesome. I got caught on the hot mic on
I heard that.
on Sunday.
kill him.
Lloyd set up the stream and then went to the game for the watch party. And so then I got there. We had some mic trouble. And I'm not a producer, so I could not get it figured out. I ended up getting it figured
plug
out.
the fat end into the skinny end, and it usually works.
Right.
Until it
and,
doesn't.
And then it was all like staticky, and so then the chat's like, static. It's broken. And I was like, guys, I know I'm trying to figure it out. And then I go to hit mute on all of them, and I go, I'm going to kill Lloyd. and they heard me on the hot mic. Then we figured it out. We were all
I was
good.
over there wheeling and
Hot
dealing.
mic.
I was trying to get us an RV, boys.
You got to make one of those graphics for that.
Oh, yeah, the hot mic
Just
graphic.
your face, like
Yeah.
really close to the camera. You know.
I'm going to kill him.
Progressively more red. Just turns into the Hulk.
and you got and you Photoshop Lloyd in there holding hands with Justin,
Yes.
praying they figure it out. You know?
God, I mean, and I don't know if you caught it on Sunday, but obviously Lloyd and Justin hold hands last weekend. On Sunday, we're watching the game. Going into the 6th inning, we had been messing with Justin the entire time to hold Jonathan's hand. And, like, the chat's like, Justin, why are you not holding hands? Because he hates it. He does not want to hold hands. And going into the 6th, like, Anthony hits the batter. And Justin's like, okay, I got it. I give up. And so they hold hands right after that.
Oh.
And what happens is Cooper Williams, 3 straight outs.
Bases loaded.
Bases loaded. You score 6 or 7 in the top of the 7th. And Justin's like, this is unbelievable.
It can't work this way.
Oh my god!
And so now he's trying to get in front of it of like, this is only a baseball thing. Like, this isn't going to happen for football. And we're like, Justin. On August 30th, LSU Clemson. If LSU goes down 14-0,
There'll be skiing in here.
oh my
you're
god!
going to have to hold hands with somebody.
Yes.
It was
you got to like handcuff them.
yeah.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
That's the other thing. Is like, Justin, I wasn't even thinking about football, but now that you bring it up,
Thanks.
yeah, thanks.
It's kind of like when you have to hold hands, you're trying to cast the demon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In those movies, you're almost summoning.
We're summoning the ghost of Alec Box.
Yes.
and it worked.
Yes.
That'd be some good merch. Right there.
Well, it's Justin's hands.
It's his.
The power of
I
Justin's
mean,
hands.
his show is called Rally Time. What do you expect?
He's got rally hands.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
it.
man, we are connecting the dots.
They
here.
are. He is the key.
This is Always Sunny in Philadelphia type
Yes,
stuff.
yes. Like you got
Voodoo Mama Juju?
Yeah,
I think we figured it out.
yeah. It's Justin.
Now we got to
Adams.
get Justin to the game with a designated
Handhold.
holder.
Oh, I'll just cut his hand off.
Just bring it with
me.
you.
Yeah.
And put it in your pocket. That's
Carry on.
God,
Kind of like
scary.
a rabbit's ear, but it's
Exactly.
Justin's hand.
Put it on a keychain.
And we'll have Jay hold it.
Yeah, I'll hold it
Yeah.
above the dugout.
He might. Justin would probably faint if he held Jay Johnson. He'd hold Jay Johnson's hand.
Oh yeah, he'd hold him hostage. Coach, it's good luck.
God.
And
Imagine-
Jay would do it.
Shout out to Justin.
Imagine that they bring him in. LSU's down to Arkansas, say like 6-4, 9th inning, and Jay starts holding Justin's hand outside of the dugout,
Boom.
and the
Walk
camera
off.
pans to it. Yeah, that would just like,
Angels
this is
in
like
the
a movie.
outfield.
This is
Literally.
It's a good script for a movie.
Yeah, it is. It is. Shout out to Justin. As much as he hates it, I'm glad it's working.
Yes.
And it's starting to win him over because it's like he was in shock.
Yeah.
In the
Of course.
7th inning, he was like, "I can't believe this is happening."
This can't be the reason.
He
Like,
almost like wanted it to not like LSU to strike out 3 up, 3 down in the
So-
7th,
so he could
to
stop.
shut it down.
Yeah, exercise the demons. It's like, nope, it
Nope.
happened again. He's like, I can't be the reason.
It was awesome. So
Well, you hope that they're never in that position.
Yes,
the rest of
let's
the
make
way.
it easy.
But you know what? When you guys are in golf suites, you got the
Justin will be holding hands.
might need to activate that.
Yep, got to
So,
activate the. You got to throw
Gotta-
everything at it, make it work.
Yeah,
So,
Arkansas. Get ready, guys.
Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, that's the best game you could ask for in Omaha is going to be on Saturday night.
Well, they're just not ready for Justin's hand.
No, they're not.
Right.
They don't. They have
You
no.
can
They don't
talk
even know.
about Kate Anderson all
Forget
you
about
want.
Kate Anderson's
Yeah.
hand.
You got Kate Anderson's left hand. You got Anthony Einson's right hand. You don't need any of those. You got Justin's hands.
The left and right hand.
Yeah, come on now. But we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, what a electric show.
Yeah, no, we try to have fun around here, as we're going to connect athletically to close it out, of course.
I know I come in here with notes all the time, but there's no preparing for what we just talked about.
No,
No.
you never. Well, that's what Jacques when he came on last week.
Oh, I
He was
listened.
like, he was like, "This
Yeah.
is my favorite thing about this show." We were going to talk baseball, and we ended up doing 30 minutes on Mike the Tiger.
Yeah.
It was like, it's just kind of we just go with the where the road takes us.
Well, Jacques, he's like that. 1 minute he's talking to, I don't know, someone famous, and the
Right.
next he's watching either like a
Breaking Bad.
a rock music video,
Yes.
or like some
Performing-
old commercial.
was he performing Bon Jovi the other night?
Uh-huh.
It was such a good video. He did great. He's a performer at heart.
Just never know with that guy.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
He's the best in the biz.
What a mentor.
The sports director.
Because I'm sure you get some of like the jock, the
Yeah,
behind
you
the
get
scenes
that, yeah.
jock.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah.
When we're in a light mood,
Yes.
I'd say 65 to 70% of the time we're just absolutely dialed.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Plugging
Of course.
away. But there's those moments where, we're just hanging loose.
Yes. There you go.
That's the only
Plenty.
version we get of him. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
Lloyd has a way to get everyone to hang loose.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
impressive.
because when you're like you literally have no threat of being the dumbest person in the room. It's like, oh, I can't be worse than that. So this is easy.
I saw that dry scoop he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm so hydrated.
I feel like more of it ended up outside your mouth than inside.
Yep. Shout out to Range Fit.
Again. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Connect athletically.
No
Let's-
comment.
Yeah. Good call.
That was a very smooth transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys.
All right, let's see. Hunter Hall said this was his fastest yet.
And then
His
he
fastest
immediately
connection.
he was like, "I'm absolutely cooking today, boys." And he goes, "Wait,
Wait, boss is on
boss."
the way.
He's like, "I'm cooked now."
Hey, you're done. All right, let's see.
Fast fist knuckle.
We got Herbert. I think Fouts was a quarterback.
Fastball, knuckleball, screwball, curveball.
Oh, I got another one on deck.
Perfect.
Where's it? This one? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next up. That's another. Yep,
There we go. And then you've got another one lined up.
I do.
There we
Go.
Let's roll.
Somebody
Go
say
ahead.
it. What'd you say?
Go with his.
Television, streaming, radio.
Person? In person.
There we go.
The 50 million different ways you can
Yeah.
watch a game.
All right.
We got
Yes.
Rivers,
Yep.
Herbert, Fouts, and then Breeze.
There
I
we
guess.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was Momentum Golf Club Golf Suites.
Golf
Facts.
Suites.
Things
There we
like you
go.
swing a fist.
What's better, Golf Suites or Top Golf?
Golf Suites.
Golf Suites.
I knew that was coming.
Golf
Yeah,
Suites.
absolutely.
I mean, one, the food is better.
Yeah. It's probably
And
a
like
little
it's-
less expensive, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a better price.
Yeah.
Top Golf was always Top Golf to me. You're getting up on the third floor to try to make it seem like you're better than you are. Golf Suites is just straight up
It's the
driving
great,
range
yeah, this is the
with a track man.
the pure,
Yes,
the most authentic version of golf.
yes, and
and
they'll bring you your buckets. of
well,
cold
and if you
snacks.
watch the game, like
Yeah.
what other place is giving out free shots for homers? Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Mikey's tailgate.
Yes, also true.
but,
But he's in the game.
You're right.
Like you walk up, you get your hour of golf. You watch the game when you go in the bar. You get your drinks and your food, and you're watching the game. Then if you get angry at the game, you've got your hour. You go back down. You take your anger out, trying to hit your driver as far as you can.
Or there's an open microphone and you get to vent
Yeah,
how you feel.
Live on
Get to
Tingle
come be
Go.
get to come be a personality.
Might.
Or you can hold Justin's hand.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might
you can
walk
hold
yourself
that-
into a handholding
Yes.
session.
yes,
Get
Or
yourself hired.
being Christian's therapist.
Yes.
yes, yeah. I mean, he needs more than just one.
How's he doing? Is he doing all right?
We're,
No,
No.
he's not.
Let me talk to him.
Yeah, you know,
Anybody-
feel
any-
free.
literally try.
Feel free.
I got him.
He
Feel
says
free.
I'm too mean to him.
Yeah,
Jonathan, he called his mother.
yeah.
You remind me of my mom.
I can't believe I sat this interview out. This is all in my wheelhouse.
Gotta get a.
We don't talk sports.
We gotta get another mic.
Yeah,
in
we're
the
gonna- we'll
hidden
get the input
closet.
put in.
You know, he could be like the guy from Benchwarmers, who's in the closet with.
Oh,
the
was it Richie?
sunscreen. Yeah, but we won't see you.
More self-respect than that.
No, I'm not saying you're like that. I'm saying we won't see you, but we'll
Yes,
hear
we'll
you.
hear
Like the
You know
voice
what I
of
mean?
God.
Yeah.
Son, scare me. He not my friend.
Yeah.
And just
Don't
sprays
eat
the
that.
Sunscreen
Oh,
everywhere.
man, it's like 10 things in my wheelhouse. That sucked. Oh, God.
There we go. We appreciate you coming in, making time for us. Know you're about to get ready to make your trek to Nebraska.
Yeah, I got a pack still.
There you go.
It's hot there.
But,
Bring a
uh,
knife and fork.
What's
for the
that?
Jello shots. They're thick,
gosh.
bitch.
I don't even know what to say.
no, there's nothing you can't say.
Yeah, no, it should be awesome. Should be fun, man.
Yeah, exciting.
We'll roll out and hope to be there for 2 weeks.
You got to
There you
pack.
go.
That's also true. You got to pack for it.
Pack a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus with the equipment,
Equipment,
and stuff,
yes.
it's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of dreading that part.
Yeah, I can imagine. But once you're there,
It'll be worth
that's what it's all about.
That's right.
Would you rather pack or not pack?
Not pack. would
I've
be
never
awesome.
thought about that.
Well, I'm saying, if LSU, like, would you rather LSU go to Omaha or not?
Oh, facts.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Facts.
Well, that.
You know what?
What a bad thing to have to do.
Yeah.
Just give me. I would wear the same pair of clothes. Just
that's
give me
what I'm
my
gonna
camera
do.
equipment. And that's all. I need.
Yeah.
There you go. Run with it.
Obviously, I'm not gonna do that.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you coming in, like we said.
Yeah.
And appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 here. And, yep. Tigers going to Omaha still. Hasn't changed in 24 hours. And it'll be the same way tomorrow. So get ready, get excited. We'll see you again tomorrow.